Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now October 2nd of 2022, and one thing that a lot of fans have been very much intrigued about when it comes to Disney Star Wars is exactly, of course, how Favreau and Filoni are going to steer things in the right path for the Star Wars fans to enjoy. Now, we already know that Disney executives are giving full creative power over to John and Dave to really take care of Star Wars moving ahead with all of these new Star Wars TV shows for different eras of the Star Wars universe, and exactly how that's all going to come into fruition. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about the new franchise, and why I call it the new franchise, is that Disney is now going to be respecting Star Wars in a far positive way. Alright, they want to make sure that they're going to be able to satisfy fans, respecting the Star Wars franchise in a new light, and really giving it a brand new tone in a sense that's going to be more accurate to the vision by George Lucas. Now, with of course the Star Wars movies, this is something that a lot of Star Wars fans have been very much interested in. Now, we already know that there's been a lot of problems with Patty Jenkins and her Star Wars movie. The same goes as follows for Taika Waititi and his Star Wars film. Now, we've been talking about the fourth trilogy for a very long time now. It's been in development for a very long time, featuring actor Keanu Reeves. He's been very tied up with the John Wick 4 and 5, as well as other projects. However, there's been a lot of changes happening currently behind the scenes for the fourth Star Wars trilogy and how it's getting a massive improvement and a different story direction. We're going to be tapping into that right now. Now, Disney executives are actively developing new Star Wars stories and projects to continue the lore and create new avenues for creators to take part in. One of the most recent changes has to do with the fourth Star Wars trilogy of movies that were previously set to take place in the Forbidden Era of Star Wars. Now, Disney has now decided to switch everything up for the fourth trilogy that will focus on the Old Republic era Star Wars movies and are set to feature actor Keanu Reeves as one of the big bads in the upcoming Star Wars films. Now, initially, the fourth trilogy was set to focus on a brand new era that took place on Exegol featuring Sith royal families. Lucasfilm has since erased that idea and are now changing the story for the fourth trilogy to focus on Old Republic Star Wars movies. Now, Keanu is already set to portray a Sith Lord in these new Star Wars films. Executives are still trying to decide on whether or not they want to put this into theaters or on Disney Plus, since the Old Republic TV shows will also be made for the Star Wars fans. So let's just be clear about this before we get to the more involved and exciting stuff. Is that initially the fourth trilogy, as I like to call it, the fourth trilogy was going to be a series of films that would focus on strictly the dark side of the Force and Sith Lords. And to be more specific, they were going to base it in between the Old Republic and the High Republic. And it was going to be called the Forbidden Era. And in that Forbidden Era, they wanted these stories to take place on Exegol. Now, on Exegol, you had these Sith royal families. They wanted to explore King Valar, which was the initial plan for the character that Keanu Reeves was set out to play. This has all since changed, alright? So Lucasfilm is actually trying to really come to their senses and maybe playing things a little bit more safe, and really kind of catering to what the hardcore fans really want to see, the Old Republic. Now, maybe I shouldn't say that's playing it safe, but it's more around the lines of catering to the fans and just listening to the fans. It's a favorite era of Star Wars, it really is. I think that for the fans that are very unaware about what the Old Republic is, if you guys are watching right now and you have no idea about what in the world it is, go ahead and search up the cinematics. Just type in the Old Republic cinematic. And I think that a lot of you will be instantly blown away and sucked in to what that Star Wars, era is all about. And it really is quite something. So, moving on to the next thing here, alright, this is where things begin to progress even further. That's really going to cater to hardcore fans. That previously Reeves was set to play a Sith King under the name of King Valar, which has now since been changed. The Old Republic movies are planned to be massive, high-budget Star Wars movies and not small scale, which will also feature, of course, actress Elizabeth Olsen as another Sith Lord who was previously going to play Lady Empress in the 4th Trilogy movies. Now, with the 4th Trilogy now set to focus on the Old Republic era, Keanu Reeves is working on John Wick 5 and other movies before he will be available to take part in these new Star Wars installments that will be created by top-grade writers and directors for the Star Wars universe. Now, this is where things really settle, and I think are going to catch the fans' interest. So Disney is currently looking at Christopher Nolan to write these new Star Wars films to give them a dark and gritty feel. Also, James Cameron has also been approached and contacted, as well as Matt Reeves. So far, as far as writers go, Christopher Nolan, Matt Reeves, and let's not forget about James Cameron have been approached to actually write these new Star Wars films. Now, if I really had to pick between all three of these writers, let me just be very honest. I think that the best one out of all of them would absolutely be Christopher Nolan. And there's a reason behind that. I mean, who doesn't like the Dark Knight trilogy, right? I mean, there's something so special about it, something so unique about it. If you look at shows, or movies I should say, like Inception, or other ones that Christopher Nolan has put out there, I mean, he really is a visionary. He really is. And you can only imagine what he would be able to do with the Old Republic. Christopher Nolan, by the way, is a guy that loves twists and turns and traveling into the unexpected aspects of movies. And, you know, I think that at the end of the day, there's a lot that's really going to come out of these new Old Republic films. So, with that being said, it does make a lot of sense, by the way, on the side here as to why Elizabeth Olsen is attached to these Star Wars movies, because she's already affiliated with Disney. You guys may recall that a lot of Marvel actors and or actresses are becoming Star Wars actors lately. When we look at, Skeleton Crew, they're doing the same exact thing with that as well. There's a lot of things on the horizon here. The other thing that I do want to tap into is the fact that they are also set out to make Old Republic TV shows, and we talked about this about 3 months ago. Now, what's likely to happen is that the movies are going to strictly be based on one big story, where the TV shows are going to center on individual small-scale stories featuring individual characters. And I think that's a very good plan of theirs, because when you look at it in that light, the Old Republic is so expansive, and when I mean expansive, it is very expansive. For those of you that don't know, it takes place thousands of years before Episode 1. It features a lot of different wars. It has a lot of secrets in there, a lot of revelations, and it's really going to give fans a good insight into the whole Sith and Jedi struggle. Alright? Now, this is going to be something that really will propel Star Wars in a different, path, without a doubt, if they get the right writers on board. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about all this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to morning.